The Remote Work-Life Business Spotlight, where I highlight top remote business innovators and share personal and career development tips to help you navigate the world of remote work. I'm your host, Alex Wilson-Campbell. I help remote work managers, professionals and freelancers overcome isolation and uncertainty in their life to get hired and fulfill their career goals. So today, the Remote Work-Life Business Spotlight, I am spotlighting a company called Sonatype or Sonatype.com. And the purpose of the spotlight, the business spotlight, is to just showcase remote businesses around the world and to give you a heads up as to the sorts of businesses that are out there. Incidentally, if you want your business to be spotlighted on the Remote Work-Life Business Spotlight, get in touch. I'm normally very active on LinkedIn, so get in touch with me and then happily spotlight your business on the podcast. So we're looking at Sonatype today, and you can find them at sonatype.com. And there are generally 10 or so questions that I ask myself when I am spotlighting businesses. The reason I spotlight businesses is because I either want to work for that business or I want to work with that business. So I want to do a bit of due diligence to understand that particular business. So I want to know what they do. When they were established, who they serve, the problems they solve, the skills they need, the values and principles that are behind the business, the culture, the mission, backstory. I want to know at least sorts of begin to figure out the people behind the business, and I want to know, are they hiring, or what kind of people do they hire? So that's generally speaking what I look for when I'm looking around for information. It's not always available on the website. Sometimes you have to go dig a bit further, dig a bit deeper. You have to get in touch with people who are working in the business and speak to them and find out more. But in Sonatype's case, they develop software. That's what they do. They say they manage your software supply chain at scale, and they deliver products faster with safer open source. So that tells you a bit about what they do and the problem that they solve, that they're trying to solve, right? So who do they serve? So if we look a bit further down, usually what we could see is, it's typical to see the kinds of clients that a particular business has in its roster. And they've got basically they've got the who's who of businesses. So they've got ABN AMRO, they've got Toyota, they've got Ali, they've got Equifax, they've got the US Air Force, they've got American Express. So they've got a few household names there, so to speak. They've got Vanguard. So what do they say? Again, the problems points towards the problems they solve. They do things 6 times faster release velocity, 80% reduction in remediation time, 100 times faster review and approval process, and 15 million developers rely on Sonatype. So that's a bit of a few numbers there for you about Sonatype. A bit more here about what's going on here. A bit more about some of the things that they do. Let's see as we scroll down. But yeah, I mean, when you look at their homepage, it fills you in a lot. It's obviously geared towards attracting their clients, but it's good to have a look around. And what I'm interested in looking at now, as I mentioned, some of those questions up front, I want to know about the values of the business. I want to know about the people within the business. I want to know about the skills that they require, a bit more about the culture as well. So these are all the things that I'm looking for. So when I go to the About page, which is near the bottom of the particular page, they go into a bit more detail about who they are, who they help, how they do, what they do. So that's a good source of information. There's also here, interestingly, a little bit of a timeline as well. So they mention, there's a timeline which goes all the way up to the 1980s, which was like a couple of years before I was born. So let's have a look. So they talk about the 1980s, the concept of open source emerges as a trend in the development space. That's in the 1980s. Then they jump forward to 2001. So they were established in 2001. Sonatype humbly begins as a project by core contributors to Apache Maven, a platform for building Java-based projects. So 2001 answers another one of my questions, which is when they were established. They've got a nice, as I said, nice timeline here as to how the business evolved. And here I mentioned I want to know about the people within the business. So there's a few visuals here, a few pictures of the people, the main leadership team in software supply chain management, all the way through to the chief exec, and then the general manager, vice presidents, council, the senior level staff. So, and then it says the faces of fearless enterprises. So there's quite a lot of information here, and it's pretty modern, pretty up-to-date website, as you'd expect from a software development company. I'm looking for a blog as well, social media, anything like that. But let's look at the careers section. It says at the time of recording this, they were hiring. Even if they're not hiring, you should always find a way of getting in touch and finding out more information. You need to, absolutely find a way of getting in touch, even if it's speculatively. And as I said, they're hiring at this particular point. You can see their open positions if you look within, or if you click certain buttons on this particular page. And incidentally, if you want to hop across to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see what I can see. And they talk about their principles of trust through transparency and accountability. What I really want to look at now, or look for, and I want to see, is I really want to see the types of roles that they hire into, but I can only get clues here in terms of the people, because what they do, they have a section of their page where they have some quotes from their team members. So they have a quote from somebody in customer success engineering. They have a quote from somebody in product team. They have a quote from somebody in the marketing team, the field marketing team. They have a quote from a security researcher and also a strategic account manager. So that gives you some clue as the sorts of different departments that they hire into. And again, it will give you a clue about how and if you are able to fit within that scheme of things. Another thing you can do, obviously, as well, is when you look at Sonatype, you can look across and go across to their social media, LinkedIn, for example, to see what is going on there as well. So have a look at sonatype.com, answer those questions in your own mind so you can get a feel, get an understanding of a particular business. And I'll see you on the next edition of the Remote Work Life Business Spotlight. That's it for today's episode of the Remote Work Life podcast. Click the link in the show notes below to access a free list of 100 remote businesses that hire regularly. And if you're feeling stuck or uncertain on issues of career or personal development, head on over to www.remoteworklife.io, where you can watch exclusive on-demand video featuring real-world remote work leaders and future of work experts on key remote work topics, including how to get clarity on your career direction, how to thrive while working remotely, how to network effectively and stay connected, and how to tend to your personal and career development needs. Go to remoteworklife.io now, and remember to connect with me, your host, Alex Wilson Campbell, on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook.